Hi, Debbie Carberry here from debbiecarberry.com.au, and today I'd like to talk to you about that pesky critical inner voice inside your head. For most of us, there is a noise that kind of sits around here that says, you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you're too big, you're too small, you're too tall, you're too thin, you don't earn enough, you're not funny enough. And that critical inner voice can really cause a lot of problems in our relationships. As always, the critical inner voice, like everything else that comes the way we connect and bond in our lives, comes from our history. So those really early connections, 0 to 3, when we're connecting with our caregiver, what happens is those interactions between the two of us, we hear the negative story. For some of us, it's occasionally negative. For others, it's often negative. You know, you are not enough. You are too bossy. You are too quiet. You are too loud. The list goes on, and our parents can tell us these stories that we internalize and we believe. Why wouldn't we believe them? What happens then as we go into our adulthood, those critical internal voices kind of really get quite loud, especially when we're full of doubt, fears, worries. When life is challenging us, the inner voice really gets quite loud. That critical inner voice can tell you stories that aren't true about yourself. And I guess what we need to do, and what's really important when the noise begins, is to slow ourselves down. We need to take a moment to listen to what we are saying to ourselves. You would have narrative stories that run over and over and over for you, and you want to listen to what the stories are. Write them down on a piece of paper. Get to know them intimately. And when you know the voices are starting, what you need to do is stop and actually say, hang on a second. That's not true. It's not true. I am good enough. Of course I'm good enough. You can counter it with things that you know that are positive about you, that you do really well. Alternatively, of course, you can actually just sit with it and remind yourself to be compassionate. And, you know, I hear the voices in my head that say I'm not good enough, worthy enough, lovable enough. And listen to those, but not necessarily take them on board. You can thank your brain. You know, thanks very much, brain, for your negative comments about me. However, in spite of what the noise is saying, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. It's really important to challenge the critical inner voice. Our own inner critical voice actually comes out of our mouth to others. So when we feel critical of ourselves, oftentimes we're critical to our partners and critical to our children, which I know nobody really wants to be. So if you want to work on your critical inner voice, you can get in touch with me at debbiecarberry.com.au. You can also go to the Work With Me tab on my website, where I have short courses that are all online and videoed. You can work with me one-on-one on very specific issues. I also run a relationship course, and I have a relationship intensive where I work quite intensively with people. All right, so for today, listen to the inner critical voice, but you don't have to take notice of it. Get it out of your head and on a piece of paper, and start challenging the noise that it makes. All right, guys, thank you. Bye.